What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Seems like we keep on having updates and videos about the rear end, but I keep on running into little issues. But anyways, I want to show you that I did get the control arms mounted to the frame. The top one was the hardest one. Is kind of rough. Had to do some prying and hitting it with a rubber mallet, but it went in. The bottom ones was basically no problem. So that's in there and ready for the rear end when we get the rear end ready to go in. So that's kind of the issue right now. Let me make my way over here to it. I'm also going to show you how I did the initial adjustment if I don't fall. So it's not like it's some ingenious idea, but I put the bolts through the lower control arm, upper control arm, and adjusted out the TRZ control arms to where they would fit. That gives me a stock length, and it gives me a starting point. Of course, I'll have to make pinion angle adjustments once I get a drive shaft. But before I can get a drive shaft, we gotta have a rear end, right? So, man, this thing was hard to get to go onto the housing. I don't know if the housing was drilled a little bit wrong, or if Yukon drilled it a little bit wrong, but they didn't line up perfectly. And then I realized that Quick Performance, they sent a bolt kit, but they didn't send a washer kit. So I don't have any washers, and I kind of, some people put them on, some don't, but I've kind of made the decision to go ahead and put some on. Okay, so the problem is, guess what? No parts stores carry them, so I had to order them. Oh well, so that puts me a little bit behind. I'm at the end of my off stretch here from work, so kind of puts me a little bit behind from where I want to be, and my work schedule's a little different this month, so just trying to figure out things to do to other things I can do to get, not waste too much time. So one thing I'm looking at is where to mount the MSD box. See if I can get it out of here. So there's not a lot of places to mount it under here, and if you look, some huge plugs, so you don't really want to be drilling a hole through the firewall that big. At least I don't. That's probably like 2 inches. I don't want a 2-inch hole going through the firewall of the car, so I'm thinking maybe putting it around here somewhere. Over there you got the overflow for the coolant, so it does back up in there. I don't know, I really want it over there next to the heat. The obvious place would be right here. It's the flattest, but with nitrous going on the car, I want to run a standalone system, and there will be the place for the standalone fuel cell to go. So I don't know, I gotta figure out somewhere to put this. And it needs to be where I can get, probably be better if I had to put something toward an obstruction, like in this case the fender. Would be better to put it that way, because this is a USB port where you can put in your custom tunes. So that's kind of the idea on that. This is the fuse block. Have to mount it in there somewhere. The thing is like the dash on this car comes down so low. Like, I mean, the ashtray where it's at is like, let's see if we can get in here and look. It's kind of dark, but it's all the way against the transmission tunnel, so there's like no room to run or to get back there to drill. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go over here by the steering column. That's about the best place I could find, really. So it's kind of where I'm at on that. I went to the parts store, also looking for another radiator bushing, because mine came out with a radiator. I thought I left it on it, but I didn't. It dropped off and I can't find it, and they don't have any exactly like that one. Theirs is for like a 4-core, and the tab that goes through the frame is right in the middle where that one's offset, so it wouldn't fit right. And they're like $30 for a pair, and I'm not paying that for it. I think there's some aftermarket ones that may be close though, so we might have to go with that. There'll be another item to order along with the washers for the rear end. So lots of little issues that's holding things up. Anyways, let me know where you think would be a good place to put the MSD box. I kind of thought about maybe just going right there on the firewall, but the thing is, I can't get behind there to put a nut on the back side, and I don't know that I want to trust it to just a self-tapping screw. Otherwise it'd be okay. So that's kind of where I'm at, and probably next part of this video I'll show the rear end being put in, or at least the rear end. So next part of this video I'll show you once the rear end's in, because I don't want to keep on making videos about the rear end. One thing I will say is that my epoxy primer may be old, or the activator, because it's staying shiny and it's not supposed to. So that makes me think it's not drying well. There's a couple things that could have happened there. I may not let it flashed off good since I was brushing it on, but I've brushed it on before and it turns matte looking okay. So since it's shiny, it makes me think it's might not have cured right. A couple things I may have put it on with it still wet, and that caused it. This stuff is also almost 6 years old, and it's been sitting outside in a storage shed. So it's been through freezing temperatures and a lot of temperatures over 100 degrees. That could have ruined it, and it just could be that it's 6 years old and it's not gonna do right. So anyways, it seemed to scrape off pretty easy where the control arms were going. I don't know, we'll have to see how it works out. Alright, so this thing's been kind of a pain in the butt. Getting the axles in. As you can see, I'm about ready to go in. I still got to put this axle in over here. And Excuse me. So one problem I had was this axle over here was sticking out too far, and like there was a gap between the backing plate and the retainer plate, which, you know, the axle didn't go all the way in, but it was hanging out a lot further than what it should. I couldn't figure out exactly what was going on. Since these are aftermarket axles, if you can see there's an O-ring there, that way you don't have to put an axle seal, which usually goes in the housing up in there. The other option is put silicone around it. What was happening is these backing plates are machined a little too tight, and it was actually not, the seal wasn't going past the backing plate over on this side over here. So actually you can see little slivers of the O-ring came off. Hopefully it still seals good. I think it will, because that's just a little bit on it. Don't really want to have to pull it back apart. But so over here, what I did instead, I took a die grinder and went around, you know, 3 or 4 times, took off a very minimal amount, just to know where it'd slide past that. So I'll get this axle put in, and the rear end should be ready to go in then. And I guess that'll be the next part you see. So that really don't show up real great, but as you can see, I'm ready to wrap up this video. It's been a long process. The rear end is under it. It's not completely the way it needs to be. The shocks don't want to fit exactly right. The mounts are at a different angle, but I don't have the right mounts in there right now. For whatever reason, Quick Performance drilled these out for a 5/8 stud for the shock mount, and factory 7/16. So I've got to order shock mounts. I don't know where the pinion angle is on this right now. I may have to adjust that. That might be why it's not right. It does seem like the wheelbase is correct. It's like 108.5 inches right now, so that's pretty close. I put bolts through the original control arms and made these the same length, so, but with it being a 9-inch Ford, the ears on the top of the rear end for the upper control arms may be different. So anyways, I just wanted to wrap this video up. As you can see, it's about the same. Looks like width wise I got it right. Look at the back here. So I'll get the baseline suspension calculator, probably what I use, and figure out what our instant center and the anti-squat is. We want it to have anti-squat with the radial tires, and we'll do some adjusting. I gotta get the measurement in for the drive shaft, get it ordered, and not 100% what I want to do with that yet. I want to go carbon fiber drive shaft PST, but I don't know, it's gonna be $1,000+ versus a local shop building a steel one. Carbon definitely a lot safer. And I've also got shocks ordered coming in. I gotta get the shock mounts with the 5/8 stud ordered tonight, and that should get the rear end wrapped up. Just got a Harbor Freight nearby, so I'll get a angle finder and get the pinion angle figured out. Anyways, that's going to wrap this video up. I know it's substandard. I'm going to be like Tussin, I guess. We're going to be the substandard leader in G-body videos on YouTube. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. See y'all later.